Sunday. And of course I dream. I'm running through endless hallways, all kinds of hallways, including one that looks like a space station, then another that looks like a medieval castle. In each one I run into locked doors. Because of this, I can only move through the halls, never knowing what's behind those doors. Eventually, I wake up. My dead limbs and heavy head tell me that I'm not awake. Not fully. I brace myself and shut my eyes again. My head thumps and stomach churns with the disappointment of knowing that I'm still in that fucking bedroom. The one that tells me I'm still stuck in a nightmare that's beyond the one I'm currently in. I feel things move about the room, hear things that sound like whining, crying, and screaming. Then I hear something in the ceiling moving above me. It has many legs, like a spider that weighs hundreds of pounds. And then I'm free. I hold still as the gradual release of the paralysis seeps through my muscles and joints. At this point, I feel like I've mostly learned how to cope with the nightmares. That thought would make me happy if I wasn't so crushed that I'm still here in this actual nightmare. Immediately, anxiety rises back in my chest as I realize how fucked up this actually is. How much sense this doesn't actually make. As far as I can tell, we've been drugged, somehow, and moved to this underground hellhole as an experiment of some kind. Someone in Echo had to have done this. One of the crazy old people, maybe Duke. He probably built this underground maze just to watch us lose our minds, probably getting off on it at the same time. I grip the bed sheets and grit my teeth, grimacing at the ceiling as I try not to cry. That had to be it. This isn't some kind of supernatural alternative dimension. This is real and someone's fucking with us. We're probably being watched by cameras that are set up in corners and peepholes right now. The idea sends a shiver down my spine, and I glance to my left, scanning the wall for any inconsistencies. We need to get out of here as soon as we can, and the sooner we start moving, the better. I hear a small, whining grunt to my left, and at that moment, to my left at that moment, and I look over, only to find that Carl isn't in bed next to me. I stare for a moment at the tangled mess of sheets on his side of the bed, trailing off the side. Carl? Another grunt. Then I hear Carl, at least I think it's Carl. His voice is deep, raspy, and it sounds like he's trying on some sort of weird accent that I've never heard him use.
My soils.
Slowly, I sit up. That's when I see something white sitting next to the bed. Jesus! I jump and slide back on my ass away from it, almost falling off to the other side of the bed. Staring at it a few seconds longer allows me to make out the clear shape of horns under a bedsheet. Carl is sitting next to the bed with a white sheet over his head, swaying back and forth gently. What the fuck, Carl? I whisper shout at him, my earlier exclamation sounding way too loud in this quiet room. I look over at Raven, but somehow he's still curled up on the sofa, fast asleep. Returning my attention to Carl, I jump again to see that he's staring straight at me, or would be staring at me if it wasn't for the sheet in the way. Carl, what are you doing? This isn't fucking funny at all. I push myself off the bed, leaning against it to take the weight off my swollen ankle, now to twice its original size, as I stand in front of Carl. I reach out and take the sheet off his head, but I hesitate. The horns. They look bigger than they should be, and the voice is so different. Carl? Carl, you're scaring the shit out of me. My voice is weak and it creaks at the end as I lose my nerve. Had this place been getting to Carl more than he'd been letting on? But then maybe he was just sleepwalking. I remember him doing that when he slept over at my house years ago. I reach out again, more slowly this time, but again, I hesitate. I can't shake the feeling that if I pull it off, it won't be Carl. Suddenly, the horned head shakes back and forth violently, the grunting reaching a fevered pitch. Shocked, I fall back on my rear, yelping as my ankle is jolted. I lean back on my hands, watching with wide eyes. The shaking is so wild that the sheets start to slip off of the head, as if whatever underneath the sheets is trying to shake it off. I brace myself, watching as the sheet slides slowly from the horns to reveal Carl. Of course it's Carl. He stares back at me with bleary eyes like he'd just woken up. I swallow hard. Carl? Carl, what are you doing? He's silent for a moment, then finally speaks.
I know what to do. Where are we supposed to be looking? Anywhere, but I know it's here.
I lean uselessly against the dining room table again, watching them. I'm biting my lip, trying not to lose my cool, trying to absorb everything Carl had just told me. You said James Hendricks himself came to you in your dream, right? Carl huffs but doesn't look at me.
Yep.
And he told you that you had to find something. Carl gets down on his hands and knees and looks under the stove.
I know it sounds stupid, but that's what happened.
I frown. You know, I had a dream about a giant spider crawling through the ceiling, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to be searching around for a spider in the ceiling.
No, this was different. I've never had a dream like that before.
He stands back up and looks right at me.
It felt like it was actually in my brain, telling me.
I look back at him for a while, not wanting to tell him he's going crazy just like I am. Well, it's kind of vague to just tell you that you need to find something, isn't it?
He told me other stuff.
Carl moves closer to me, starting to look through the various decorum of the dining room. Like, what? Carl lifts up a vase, then looks inside.
Said this place is chaos, leftover memory from the old house.
That still doesn't really make any sense.
And that he organized it for us into separate sections to help us figure this out and clear his name so we can get out of here.
How is clearing James Hendricks' name going to end this? I throw my hands in the air to gesture at everything that this is. Carl bends down to look under the dining room table and stands up right in front of me.
What else do we have to go off on? Hey, I found something weird.
We both look over at Raven, who holds up a corkscrew. Carl turns back to me, ignoring the husky.
If we find it, that locked door will open, and we'll be able to get out.
If he's here, why doesn't he just show up himself and do this for us?
He said he's weak. That there are other forces in this house that have much more control than he does. He can only do so much.
I gape at him. Do you hear yourself right now? Carl frowns, then moves past me. What does his name even need to be cleared of? I feel tears starting to sting my eyes again because now I think I'm the only one who realizes how crazy this all is. Don't you guys get what's actually going on here? Raven stops rustling through the drawers and looks up at me.
You okay, Jess?
No! Because someone fucking kidnapped us and put us in this crazy maze dungeon, and we should be trying to figure out how we can get out. The silence, it's quiet for a moment as Raven and Carl exchange glances.
It's okay, Chase. We're gonna get out of here.
I lean my head back in despair, about to cover up my face and my hands when something catches my eye. In the chandelier, a small white envelope is wedged between the glass ornaments. I squint to make sure it's not my watering eyes creating an illusion. Yes, it's definitely an envelope up there. Diamond patterns from the crystal cast across its surface. Guys? Carl ignores me as he continues to shuffle through things on the counter behind us. Carl? I found something. I point straight up to the chandelier above me. Carl stops then, finally, and moves up next to me, looking up.
Is that a letter?
Look at it. Do you think... Is that what you're looking for? Carl gets up on the table, wobbling slightly as he reaches up to pull the envelope from the crystals. With a heavy thump, he drops back down to the floor. I'm still skeptical of everything right now, but as I get a closer look at the letter, I start to recognize it. That kind of looks like the same envelopes your mom collected. Carl picks up the envelope, turning it over.
Kind of. It just says John on the front.
Carl opens the flap to empty out its contents.
Isn't that the guy that... Whoa!
The letter lights up, and what sounds like a match being struck accompanies the flash. Carl gasps and drops the letter to the ground, shaking his hands.
It's on fire! Shit, put it out! Put it out!
I stupidly wonder if the lights had somehow set the letter on fire as Carl starts trying to smother the letter with a sleeve.
Stupidly.
At that moment, a great moaning sound shakes the walls, almost knocking me off my feet and sending plates crashing to the floor. I cling to the table as the plates fall from the counter and the chandelier swings above us. A deep groaning coalesces into a scream that makes me clap my hands over my ears. Carl is staring at the ceiling, his eyes wide, when we hear another hissing sound. I jerk my head to look back in time to see a gush of inky black smoke burst from the stove, another scream accompanying it. It rushes straight towards us, and for just a moment I see the outline of what looks like a mouth and eyes in the smoke before it engulfs me. My senses are completely smothered. It feels like something is slamming up against my chest, and all the air is gone, to be replaced by the unbreathable smoke. This consistency is like water, filling my ears and eyes. I scream into the emptiness, but I can't hear myself over the cacophony that sounds like rushing water mixed with muffled screams and explosions. I fall to my knees, then curl up on the ground into a ball, just praying that this savage thing, just praying that the savage thing killing me would stop. Just as I'm starting to give in, something grabs the scruff of my neck hard and yanks me up so violently my teeth clack together. The fingers are unmistakably hooved. The letter, you fucking idiot! Then I'm shoved forward to find myself laying flat against the dining room table. Completely blind, I feel around, finding the letter. I clumsily rip the envelope apart, grabbing the letter inside. Then, like a massive vacuum being turned on, the smoke is sucked out of the room, along with the horrible screaming and roaring. In an instant, the room is quiet again, and I slump back to the floor, gasping for breath. Carl is right next to me, curled up in the same position I was. Raven is whimpering, his face in his hands and his rear in the air. Carl coughs a few times, wheezing in air before he looks at me, and the envelope clutched in my hands.
What the hell just happened? Are you okay?
I can't respond. I lean back against one of the chairs tucked under the table for a moment, gathering my wits. Carl?
Yeah?
If that James guy tells you anything else, just tell me, and we'll do it. Carl breathes heavily in response. Raven, you okay? Raven sits a few feet in front of us, on his knees, tongue hanging out as he gasps.
Good. Good. You know, that's what I saw yesterday.
Yeah, I gathered that. I give a short, humorless laugh. And also that I'm done asking questions. I just want to get out of here. After a few minutes of catching our breaths, I turn my attention back to the letter. Somehow, it's completely undamaged despite catching on fire. It feels crisp and new, and the ink is almost looks fresh. Definitely looks like it came from one of the bins in the crawl space. But if that were the case, then there's no way it could be in the great condition it is in. The letter itself is short, and I start to read it aloud. My dearest John, the militia grows more agitated by the hour, and I fear that they will demand a search of this mansion. If that does indeed occur, I will do everything in my utmost power
To hold them off.
I look over at Carl, wondering if he just wanted to read the letter instead, but he looks right at me.
They will never find the room I've left you in. Do not fear.
Carl moves closer to me, his hand reaching out to grab my shoulder. Carl?
But if they so much as try to lay a finger on your head, it will be the last thing they ever do.
Before I can even move, Carl leans in and kisses me. I'm just able to get a glimpse of Raven's shocked face before I'm practically smothered by Carl's soft, warm nose and lips. I freeze, my shoulders tensing. It's not that I'm not enjoying it, it's just that the kiss was so unwarranted. I'm not sure how long it lasts, but I never make a move to stop it. When Carl does finally pull back, it's awkward, and he's looking just as confused as I am. Raven sits there, openly staring at us. Carl lowers his ears, his nose growing pink.
Sorry. I don't know why I just did that.
I clear my throat. Don't worry about it. This place is doing weird things to me, too.
Aww, that's so cute.
Raven, could you help me up? I mostly ask him so he won't dwell on what just happened. Carl clears his throat.
Well, I think the door's open now. Let's go check.
We make our way slowly down the hall, Raven just behind us. I lean in closer to Carl's ear so the husky can't hear. So... was that really you? Or did your great whatever take control again?
I don't know. I think I was still in control. Just felt like the right thing to do. You know?
It looked like you already knew what the letter said.
Yeah.
I wait for him to go on, but he doesn't. Well, what does he need his name to be cleared for anyway? Being gay? I don't think people care about that stuff anymore.
No. We already sort of knew that. Besides, that was basically a love letter.
So, what is it that he thinks has ruined his legacy? Carl thinks.
I guess the idea that he just allowed his lover to die. I think people believe that he sort of just left John to die. Didn't really try to save him.
This whole mess seems like a pretty roundabout way to go about that, in my opinion. But like I said earlier, I'm done asking questions. Well, it was kind of nice. The kiss, I mean. Carl looks back at me with one green eye.
Yeah?
I smile a little. I guess the fact that something had been growing between us since the beginning of the week is pretty undeniable. And now we're here in this crazy alternate dimension with smoke monsters. So, well, fuck it, I guess. I lean in and kiss his big, soft cheek. Yeah. Carl grins and is about to say something when I catch movement out of the corner of my eye. Immediately after, I hear a dull thump and Carl grunts, his eyes bulging before he crumples, sending me to the floor with him.
Oh my god!
I yelp as my ankle bangs against the floor and I roll onto my back, teeth grit, straining to reach down to hold my foot. Whatever just hit us is standing over me now. I raise a hand feebly to hold off the next blow. When it doesn't come, I lower it slowly and look up.
Jenna?
Jenna stands there stoically, holding what looks like a small wooden stool. Jenna? What? How did you get here? Jenna slowly sets the stool down, slowly seeming to recognize me. I lean forward to feel my ankle, the pain radiating from it in hot pulses. Chase? Are you okay? What happened to your leg? I sprained it.
Hey, Jenna. It's been a while.
Watch out, she's got a stool, and she knows how to use it. I look over at Carl, who's curled up on his side, his arms wrapped around himself. Carl, you okay? Then to Jenna. Did you hit him? Jenna walks past Carl and crouches down next to my leg. This looks really bad. Yeah. Carl, are you okay? Carl grunts and turns over to face us, a hand to his chest.
Jenna, What the fuck was that?
Jenna looks at my ankle a while longer before standing up and looking around. When it doesn't look like she's going to answer, Carl sits up.
How did you find us here?
Raven perks up.
Yeah. Is there a way out?
Jenna finally looks down at Carl, and I note the complete lack of concern in her eyes. I came to your house looking for TJ and ended up going into the basement. She looks down the hall again. And I ended up here somehow. I blacked out before I did, so I don't know how to get out. Carl finally stands up, wearily eyeing the stool held loosely in Jenna's hand before bending down to help me back up.
Your leg okay?
He grunts in my ear as he slides my arm over his shoulder and slowly pulls me back up and onto his back. Mostly. I think I kind of twisted it up again. Carl grunts again and turns back to Jenna, now with me on his back.
Well, that's pretty fucked up just to blindly swing at someone around a corner.
No. What's fucked up is waking up in a place you have no memory of going to. Jenna's sharp muzzle points right at Carl, glaring. Carl studies for a second, clearly not expecting to have Jenna snap back at him.
Hey, this isn't my fault. We have no idea where we are at either.
Why are you guys fighting?
Raven looks innocently between the two of them, his ears perked. It's a good question, and I watched Jenna closely from over Carl's shoulder. She just glares at Carl, arms folded. Did she blame him for this somehow? After a few seconds of awkward silence, Carl speaks up.
Well, you hit me for one. I don't know why you are so mad at me.
Jenna looks back at Carl, and I see the tenseness in her shoulders slowly loosen. I'm sorry. I'm just a little uptight after waking up here.
Hey, you're taking it better than us. Chase was freaking out for hours.
I give Raven Raisin.
Raisin.
I give Raven.
Hey, Raisin. Raisin the Husky.
I give Raven a side glance. Well, things have been going crazy since you two left the lake. Like us ending up in this fucking nightmare dimension? Not just that. Jenna sets the stool... Oh, okay. Her shirt didn't magically change colors for some reason. She just put her arms down. Jenna sets the stool down on the carpet before sticking out her forearm. That's when I see the crusted blood in her fur in the form of 3 long lines.
What the...
TJ attacked me. What? That sentence doesn't seem to fit together. TJ attacked?
Why?
I have no idea. The faraway, vacant look on Jenna had in her eyes earlier is fading to be replaced by a more concerned expression I know better from her. He's been losing it ever since Flynn tried to grab him at the lake. I start to feel a little sick to my stomach. Why? He wouldn't tell me. He was just acting anxious. Kept looking over his shoulder. But isn't he sort of like that most of the time? Jenna folds her arms, then shakes her head. No, he kept looking around, saying that he was seeing things. She stopped short.
Like what?
Jenna looks up. Sydney. We're quiet for a while.
It seems all of the rumors about this town are true. Everyone is crazy.
This isn't normal at all. Even an echo.
Jenna looks at Raven. I'm sorry, who are you? Raven grins.
No, I'm sorry. I'm Raven.
He sticks out a hand. Jenna looks at it before turning to me. just like, nope.
She's just like kind of rude. She's just like, I'm not your friend. Simple dog.
She's just like, man, this guy is a simpleton.
They really do get it pretty bad.
Chase, something was going on with Leo, too. He kept asking around for you, then he ran off saying he had to take care of some things. Oh, I don't know why. I try to think of what Leo might have wanted from me, but I draw a blank. It could be anything. Anyway, I've been trying to find TJ for ages. I don't even know what day it is anymore. Tried Carl's house since I'd ran out of any other options. Jenna goes quiet, then reaches into her pocket and pulls out her phone, holding it up, clearly looking for a signal. Just as I got to your house, Carl, I heard popping sounds. Jenna sighs and puts her phone away. Gunshots, I'm pretty sure, coming from Main Street. Something's been happening to everyone. Jenna slides her hands into her back pockets, looking around. And now this. Wow. So something fucked up is happening all over town. I think about Leo and TJ and my stomach twists at the thought of them being out there. I can only hope that they were able to get out somehow. At this point, I'm just waiting to wake up.
We all are.
Yeah, especially after a giant smoke monster chases all around the dining room.
What? Jenna looks at me and Carl. Carl glances back at me as if asking me to be the one to explain the impossibility that had just happened. I take a breath, trying to think of how I'm going to say this. So, I think at this point you're going to have to just go with whatever this place throws at you, Jenna.
Yeah, we all just kind of accepted what's been happening.
Well, we have to. Otherwise, it would just be us sitting around freaking out about how crazy this all is and not doing anything about it.
And so far it seems we've at least been moving things forward.
Jenna stares at us. What happened? We all stand in front of the wooden door in a half circle, none of us wanting to open it. So, this is to clear James's name.
Seems that way.
But why go through all this trouble? I rest on my good foot, for I come on the carpeted floor while I lean on Carl's back, wanting to give him some relief from carrying me all the time. Probably because of the smoke monster thing. It's trying to stop him. Maybe it's making all these obstacles. Jenna had taken our whole description of what had happened in the dining room pretty well. She listened so silently that I'd explained what had happened so far.
So, I guess if we get his story straight, maybe get it out to the town about what really happened, we might be able to get out of here.
Jenna eyes the door. You think that maybe the reason why this monster doesn't want James to get the information out? We're quiet for a moment. Well, we don't have much to go on. Again, there's a long pause as we all contemplate what the hell might be behind the door. That pause is broken by a certain husky, though, as his white hand suddenly reaches out to grasp the handle.
Maybe we've already done what needs to be done. I bet this gets us home.
Raven!
The heavy door pulls open slowly to an unearthly. The heavy door pulls open slowly with an unearthly squeal. For the brief moment that I'm conscious, I see a black square in front of me that grows in size until it takes up my entire vision. The muscles in my back and neck seize up, and my teeth clench together as my head jerks back. And then I'm falling. I'm falling! We're falling!
Chosen one!
That movie is great. There's a rhythmic...
Whale!
There's water everywhere! There's a rhythmic throbbing in my head. But it's hard to decide if it's coming from inside my head or outside. It's just TJ, like, patting him on the head like he's a cat. Wake up! Feed me!
Wake up, my food bowl's empty.
The next sense to come back to me is touch. I feel a cold, hard surface under my back. Probably wood, judging from the way my claws sink into it. I shift around a little, but I don't feel like getting up just yet. The smell is musty and old. I'm reminded of my grandpa's woodshed, a place I'd often go to when I played hide and seek. The drumming sound continues, and the rhythm makes me think that it's definitely coming from outside my body. It sounds tribal in a way. Where am I? On the edges of my memory are troubling images of endless hallways and rooms, the smell of decay and a noose. But I feel like if I block it out and just go back to sleep, I can erase all of it. I almost succeed, but then something brings me right out of my reverie.
Carl? Chase?
I grimace, the voice reminding me of something dark, cloudy.
Help!
The much louder yelp that follows has me rolling to my side, cracking my eyes open blearily. I'm in a dark room, very dark. The only source of light coming from what looks like a candle on a bedside table. A large bed sits next to it. I'm laying near the foot of this bed, and opposite of me I can barely make out a wall next to which is a wooden box.
Help!
Raven's plaintive moan forces me to my feet, my joints cracking uncomfortably. As I drag my right foot to stand under me, a blinding pain flashes up my leg, sending bright light across my vision. I let out a muffled scream of pain behind my clenched teeth, closing my eyes as I wait for it to subside. Memories are starting to float back into me. There's a doorway in front of me, and I start to make my way towards it, hopping slowly on my left foot, holding my right off the ground. I come to a small hallway, one that branches to my left into the corridor of darkness. Right in front of me, however, is a set of stairs. Light glows at the bottom, and I'm pretty sure that's where Raven's voice is coming from. In fact, I'm pretty sure I can hear other voices coming out of there as well. I look down at my ankle, wincing as I see that it's gotten even bigger, more than twice its original size. I'm starting to think that this is more than a sprain. As I make my way down the stairs, cringing with every light hop, my stomach starts to sink. I remember now the weird mansion that we were just in, the doors and hallways and the smoke monster. And the door we just went through, whatever's happening to us, isn't over yet. When I reach the bottom of the stairs, I find Jenna and Carl standing around a tall brown wardrobe. As I stand there, breathing heavily, Carl turns to see me.
Chase!
He immediately rushes to my side, his hooves clopping loudly against the wooden floor. I think he's simply coming over to support me, but he wraps me up in a big hug.
God, I keep worrying that one of us is gonna disappear. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, I'm fine. I was upstairs in a bedroom, I think. The anxiety I'm feeling over the whole situation goes away just a little, absorbed into the soft warmth of Carl's body. Over Carl's over Carl's shoulder, I can see Jenna watching us. Her eyes narrowed, expression dark. I'm about to ask what's wrong when I hear a loud bang from inside the wardrobe.
Guys, are you still there? I think something touched me.
Jenna turns back to the wardrobe, silent for a moment, then bends down to look at something.
Guys?
I hear a metallic click. Then Jenna jumps back as one of the doors swings open, and a black and white blur falls out like a rock. Raven face plants neatly into the wooden floor. He stays there for a moment, moaning into the planks, before Jenna bends over to help him up. He has broken his left ankle, or had broken my right, and Jenna now needs to carry him around.
Carry the husky.
I'm like, by the end of it, everyone will have one broken leg and one broken wrist. And like, it's just how it'll be.
Yeah.
Are you
Something's
alright?
damaged.
Oh, yeah. I just felt like something grabbed me.
I look back up into the wardrobe to find a very bare and empty wooden compartment. I'm inclined to believe him, though, after everything that's happened.
Where are we?
Who are you? I'm Batman.
Ah!
Where is she?
Where are we? It's like
Never
Batman.
start with the head.
Like Batman in this
Gets them all-
situation.
Yeah.
He just
You
grabs
see
the
it.
shadow. He just grabs the smoke monster and starts punching it. Where are we?
Where are we? Where are we?
I'm not
The
trapped
smoke
in here with
monster's
you. You're trapped in here with me.
Suddenly it's Watchmen.
You think you're suffocating me? You're not escaping. He starts pounding his chest to torture it. It's a good question, and now with the excitement over, I take the opportunity to look around as well. Everything is wooden. The walls, floor, ceiling. There's a large rug on the floor covered in colorful patterns and shapes. It reminds you of the art projects we'd do in elementary school when learning about the natives. There's a big stone fireplace and two rug-covered chairs in front of it. Jenna gingerly shuts the wardrobe. So, a log cabin?
Does everyone remember where we were before?
Yeah, that mansion place.
So, we're still stuck in this dimension thing.
I sigh, rubbing my face with one hand while I lean against Carl with the other. I had long ago given up on trying to figure out exactly what the hell is going on. Like Carl said earlier, we just have to keep moving and hope we get out of here.
What's that sound?
The drumming that I had thought was coming from within my head has started up again.
Drums?
The husky moves towards the wall, which consists of several logs stacked horizontally on top of each other.
I can't see anything. The cracks are filled in with stuff.
I look around again, this time more carefully. Right in front of me is a large log door, not unlike the one we initially came through. On my left side, separated by the stairs, is what looks like the kitchen side of the room. In it, there's a small table with 2 chairs on either side. There's also a big black wood-burning stove next to a few shelves which are full of pots and pans. Various tools and furniture clutter up the rooms. And there's a window. I pointed out to Carl. Look, let's try to see out through there. Carl pulls me into a familiar position on his back before clopping over to the window. The sounds a bit louder with my added weight. Jen and Raven follow behind. There's a ledge next to the window, thankfully, and Carl lets me sit on it. I turn to look out the window while the others crowd around me, resting their hands on the wooden bench. The first thing I notice is a flickering light in the distance, about 100 yards away. It casts out across the ground around it, shadows from rocks, and bushes dance about in the movement of the illumination. It's definitely a fire. A large one. Probably a bonfire. The blackness around the fire is unnatural, though. Just like what I saw in the windows in the mansion. It's inky and thick, and has an oppressive air of almost being alive. No other light comes from what I presume to be the sky. That fire being the only signal that has any existence outside the cabin.
A fire!
Raven says it redundantly. The drumming. It's coming from it. Carl reaches out and puts his hand. But his hand looks to immediately press against something. I reach out too, and I feel a solid flat surface where a pane of glass might be set up, but it's clear there's nothing visible there. Observe, accept, move on. Hey, look! I look up in time to see something dark flash across the fire. It disappears into the darkness to the right of the flame, though.
What was that?
Maybe it was a tumbleweed or something?
No, it was jumping, whatever it was.
Maybe it's a jumping tumbleweed.
Ooh,
Ooh,
those are
it's
scary, I
exotic.
hear.
Oh yeah, they grab you. They're Pokemon.
Mm-hmm. I feel a prickling along my neck, and now I'm not really into the idea of just staring out into the darkness. But then it happens again, and I see what Jenna's saying. The dark shape starts at the left side of the fire before passing in front of it. I get the brief impression of a tail and ears, and legs and arms pumping as if jogging in place. It moves past the flames, then disappears into the darkness. Something's out there. We continue to watch, but the drumbeat dies down, and after about a minute, it's clear nothing's moving around out there anymore.
What was that?
Well,
Carl glances at Jenna.
the drumbeat sounds kind of native, don't you think?
He's clearly waiting for Jenna to confirm. Maybe. There's an awkward silence before Carl coughs.
Well, let's think. We weren't able to get out of the mansion until we found that letter, right?
He looks at me. Yeah. I respond automatically.
Well, if that's the case, then maybe we have to find something in here, right?
I guess that would make sense. But what are we supposed to find? Another letter?
Yeah, didn't someone tell you about finding something that it would open the door?
Yeah, and I think it makes sense that whoever set this up would do it in the same way, right?
I sigh and stop staring out the window, my back sore from the twisting motion. I sit up straight on the bench and look back into the cabin. Well, we're supposed to find another letter. There's a bunch of places to hide it. Maybe we should try the door first? Jenna walks over to the door and looks at it, looks it up and down before reaching out to slide back the rusty bolt. To my surprise, it moves with only a little resistance.
Are we sure we want to go out there? I mean, we don't know who that is running around.
Jenna hesitates, then heaves back on the door, but it doesn't bulge. It doesn't bulge. It doesn't budge. Not even an inch. Jenna sighs. Raven bounds up next to Jenna before enthusiastically yanking back on the handle as well. Again, the door holds fast.
Of course.
Jenna stares at the door for a moment before turning to us. Let's take a look around upstairs. If we're supposed to find something, then we should start from the top to bottom.
Agreed.
Carl bends down to pick me up, but I rest a paw on his shoulder. Wait. I don't want you to have to drag me everywhere, let alone up and down the stairs. He stops mid-stoop, his face level with mine as he looks at me.
You sure? I don't really want to leave you alone down here.
I look back at him and I can't help but note the differences that I noticed earlier. His face has harder lines, his fur duller, eyes somehow deeper, wiser.
You alright?
I break out of my trance and blink. Yeah. I'll just stay down here and look around where I can. Jin and Raven are already making their way up the stairs, Raven going on about how his family used to have their own log cabin.
Alright, but shout if, you need anything.
I smile. At least I feel like some parts of Carl are still familiar. After the ram heads upstairs, I lean back on my little bench, letting my head tilt back as I close my eyes. Even in this new environment, everything is still feeling surreal. I've come to welcome the feeling, though. It's nice. It's a nice little barrier to everything that's happening right now. In some ways, I can still pretend that this is a dream. Hell, even now I'm thinking it's a dream. That I'm somehow stuck in one of my paralyses. Maybe I'm in a hospital right now and they're trying to figure out how to pull me out of it. Though, it has me feeling like I'm being watched, and the fur prickles around my neck. I guess it would be kind of awkward if all those doctors are watching me right now. Maybe Carl and Jenna are there too, and Leo, and Flynn, and TJ. The feeling gets stronger, so I turn back around to look out the window. It's still silent, and the lonely little flame in the distance continues to flicker around the rocks and sagebrush. Makes me wonder how endless this world is. If we're in some type of ghost dimension being manipulated by what are basically ghost gods, then will this whole ordeal be never ending? The thought twists my stomach, so I stop thinking about it. I turn back around and force my eyes to start scanning the kitchen from top to bottom, looking for something, anything that might stand out. I assume I'm looking for a letter. But again, the rules are limitless in this world. Then there might be no telling what it might be that we're supposed to find next. I think about vocally asking James or whoever the hell it is for some help. Maybe some kind of hint at least. There's no way I'm gonna do that without the others with me. I'm thinking about pushing off this bench to start limping around the kitchen when a small scratching sound catches my attention. I hold still, then lean back, tilting my ear towards the sound.